Hello, my time-crunched teachers, and welcome to the show. This is your team teacher, Mariel Desrosier, here to help you optimize your teaching, technology, and time management. And with me today is third grade teacher, Stephanie Hedgpeth-Lopez.
Hello.
And today, we're talking about hall passes so that you can get your children out of the classroom. No,
and hopefully
kidding.
Get them back again.
Yeah, get them back. There and back again, a classroom tale. No, we are talking about our favorite types of passes because we have tried a lot of different versions over the years. I also think too, and I was guilty of this, when you're a brand new teacher, hall passes are all like cute and fun, or people will order little customized ones with their names where like somebody spent a lot of time making them on Etsy, only for them to find them like trampled on a bathroom floor. So we're going to try and steer you into the most efficient, but also like minimal prep or cost hall passes. There's no reason to get the cutesy ones unless they make you happy.
Oh, yes. Cute. If it makes you happy, you need your joy wherever you can find it.
Exactly. But understand you will also need to find it cute when you find it out in the middle of the field.
Some kid goes, this was in the bathroom. And you're like, oh, thank you.
You're like, cool, thank you. Okay, so I know it doesn't feel like we could do an entire episode on hall passes, but let me tell you, there are the right kind of hall passes and the wrong kind of hall passes.
Yes.
And so today we are going to talk about the following topics: bathroom passes, general hall passes, or the types of other sort of hall passes you might need, and then also like what to make them out of. And then finally, I'm going to call this, Stephanie, special errand passes, special friend. Who would like to volunteer? And we'll explain this. It's basically a classroom management tool for when a student needs a break and they might not realize they need a break.
Or refuse to leave thinking they're in trouble. But
that's true.
If you have a special thing to do.
Right. Or maybe you need a break.
That's usually okay.
So let's begin with bathroom passes. I've tried lots of different versions of this. You know, is it a thing they hold? Is it a lanyard? Is it what else have you seen? Either a lanyard, a thing they hold.
Someone has a funnel on a string right now.
A funnel?
Yeah, like a plastic funnel.
I know, but I'm questioning that because a funnel in a bathroom just sounds like like a challenge for a child.
It does.
You have to tell me off air.
Upper grades.
Okay, fine.
A teacher who deals with lots of different students.
Okay, fair enough. I would not use a funnel. I feel like I have stumbled upon for fifth grade what I consider the perfect bathroom pass, which is a refillable soap bottle. And it's just soap. I bought the foaming soap and the students love it because it's different and special. And then all I do is I created a label, or you could just write on the bottle, you know, your name or bathroom pass or whatever your school requires you to have on your passes. And the students just bring the whole soap thing with them. It's small enough to hold in their hand, and they set it on the sink counter, and hopefully they use it. If it gets left behind, one of two things happen. Either other children also use it, in which case they're washing their hands, or because it's labeled, somebody will walk into my classroom and say, Miss D, we found your soap pass in the bathroom, or the whole, whatever, bathroom pass. And the other thing too is not every child washes their hands. So you need to think about with your bathroom pass, is it something that is cleanable? Like, is it plastic?
Is it washable?
Yes, is it washable?
Throw it in the wash. Can you just look at it and throw it away at a certain point?
Yes, true. Is it just disposable? Yeah, because I've known teachers that have used like cutesy, tiny little stuffed animals and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Stephanie's making a face like gross. So if you are designing your bathroom pass, make it cleanable or just make it soap. And it's awesome. I'm going to let you share your bathroom passes, and then let's talk about bathroom logs, which I don't do, but I know some schools do, so we can talk about why.
Well, I did actually, not buy cutesy ones, but I'm like, oh, these are durable plastic, and they're already coated with all the different ones that I like to have. And then last year, I had one returned to my box that was broken in half. I don't know how the child broke it in half, why they broke it in half, how. I mean, it was...
Because it's super thick plastic
with
the thing
and the
printed on
bathroom
it.
is like, 20 feet from my classroom. So I really don't know how that happened. So I decided instead this year is I created I think it was on Canva. I found some passes and then I went in and put our name and room number on it. I do have it for the bathroom and I also have them for my other things. I don't know. Should I say that now? Like right now there's a nurse one.
Okay.
Nurse, office, hall, bathroom, library. And it already has my name on it. So it's easy to go, oh, here, take the pass. Especially if their nose is bleeding or something. And you can just throw the nurse one at them and they know where they came from.
Right.
And my nurse pass is missing, so some of these obviously there. And this way, because they're just laminated on cardstock, when they start to look like
junky or fall apart,
or kind of this wet smear, I just throw it away and I just print another one.
And yours are like mine where they're on a lanyard, right? The kid wears them?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's less likely they're going to be
grubby.
Touching it.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. So lanyards, having it on a lanyard is awesome because it's wearable. The kid won't set it down and forget it. You know, I know that's a slight downfall to my soap one, but also, you know, they're just carrying soap back and forth. It's not a big deal. But yeah, something that they can wear that you can just have hanging by the door or wherever and the kid can grab it. And then most of us, I bet we have listeners who have no idea why we need hall passes. Like there's schools where they're like, what? A kid needs a pass to go from one room to another. So we probably should have started with explaining at our school and many schools where I've taught, no, the kid is not just allowed to go from one place to another, which I think is ridiculous because most of them can. You need some sort of pass or something they could show another adult that shows that where they're going, where they're supposed to be going, or that they have permission to go.
Exactly. We do have a few that
wander,
take liberties with where they should be.
Yes. And I understand that with the younger kids, it's nice to have something that shows where, you know, they're supposed to be going to or where they're coming from, which makes sense. So having something they can wear is really nice and convenient and obvious to other adults why that kid is in the hallway. We can talk about the different types of passes in a minute, but let's go back to bathroom logs. I think this is more of a middle school teacher thing, or when I taught middle school, this was a thing. You know, kids aren't supposed to be going to the bathroom all the time, and some schools require this like ridiculous log system where you log how many times they go and how long. It's nuts. Like there's schools that develop QR codes or like online spreadsheet things. If you are teaching at a school where you have to do that, I'm so sorry. Because if our school asked me to do that, I just wouldn't.
Although
I would say no, children never go to the bathroom.
There have been times where something is going on in there. Mm-hmm.
Oh, like shenanigans.
And so they just want to know the time someone goes so that they can pinpoint
who was out, what part of the security camera in the hallway to pull up. Sure.
That has happened a couple of times. And usually it hasn't stuck when we figure it out.
Right.
That can be a little helpful.
Sure. If I had to do that and I was teaching middle or high school where they either had one-to-one devices or cell phones, I would just make a QR code that dumps into a Google spreadsheet form thing. But I just think that's ridiculous. Talk about having anxiety of your teacher knowing how long you were in the bathroom. Or like some teachers make them write it on a clipboard. I guess what I'm saying is there are 1,000 different ways to do this. I personally stay away from the things that are shaming or embarrassing.
Although in my class, they like to announce it as they come in. I took a long time because I was I'm like, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I once taught a second grade class that learned the term constipated because a child shared that I was constipated. And they're like, what? What's that mean? And then they told them. So there you go. Yeah, so I don't keep a bathroom log. You know, I think when you're at the beginning of the year, when you're still learning their names, it's nice to, maybe they just put their name on some little dry erase board or something that's by the door. Or if you want to share how you know if a student is in or out of the classroom on your door.
Oh, yes. I have a check-in system on my door, which is just a magnet that when they come in the morning, they're supposed to put it over on. Right now, it's how are you feeling and which zone you're in. Usually it's pretty good. Sometimes it becomes problematic because like, I'm tired, but someone has their name on that. I'm like, it's just the general color. Just put it down. But then it also above says, I'm with another teacher, or I'm in the bathroom, or I'm in the office, that they can put their name there when they go. So if there is something going on, a lockdown comes up or something, you can go, oh, those children are there.
Yeah, they're with that in that room.
It doesn't always work perfectly, but if you assign someone a job for the door, especially someone who is always in people's business, they will definitely go, so-and-so is absent, they didn't move their thing, or they're in the bathroom now, I'm going to go move it. And actually, sometimes that's a good use of their bossiness.
Right. It's just
You're
keeping track of other children.
Yes.
No, that's good though. I mean, you bring up the idea of, if there's an emergency or something, knowing where they are is really important. And I think maybe that's why some schools have the log in, log out system, so you know where the student is. But I think something as simple as, we are lucky we have doors that are metal, so we can put magnets on it, but their name on a magnet, or if you just have a pocket chart or something on the door or near the door.
I know someone who bought like a piece of tin or whatever and made like a sign thing and then put all the magnets on there.
Oh, right on. I've seen teachers do that with a cookie sheet or something like that, because it's and then yes, it becomes magnetic. But yeah, that's a good way to kind of quickly see where the children are supposed to be and keep track of them, or have them have a little responsibility and accountability. I think this comes down to, if you have to have some sort of bathroom log, make it so that whatever grade level you teach, the children are responsible for it. Like, you're not making a pass for them every time a kid needs to go to the bathroom, or every time.
In fact, even if they have a pass they want you to use, just laminate it, or laminate a few, and then you could just write their name on it with a sharp vis-a-vis and or dry erase, whatever you call it.
Right. So I think that brings us to all our different kind of passes. So you can buy pre-made heavy duty plastic ones, assuming a child can't snap it in half like a phone book.
But they will.
Or you can make it, if your school has a specific hall pass you're supposed to use, like say it's a little, quarter sheet of paper, you can laminate that, hole punch it, put it on a lanyard, and then the part where you're supposed to write the student's name or check off where they're going or whatever Stephanie's saying, then you just write it with a dry erase marker or the vis-a-vis markers or whatever you want. And then that way you're not filling out a piece of paper every time with your name, your classroom number, or whatever. You're basically just writing the kid's name and time and checking a box of where they're going.
And I even, on my special passes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Like the nurse one, I can, if it's not a blood is dripping all over emergency, I will, sometimes write just on there to send it to them so they know. And because it already says the room number and where they're going, all I have to do is say, feels like throwing up or
whatever, or have some boxes.
Needs more hall passes, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Or you can pre-write in a couple different reasons and you just circle or check off the one that's being used. And again, that's why we like the lanyards. If a kid has a bloody nose or something where they need their hands to cover their face, or they're, feel sick or something, you don't want them to also have to carry something in their hands or figure out what to do with it. So yes, I'm all about the lanyard wearable pass. And Stephanie and I were talking about this before we started recording. We're very anti the shaming passes. I think this is not quite a thing anymore, but I feel like 5 or 6 years ago, I saw a bunch of stuff, whether it was like Instagram or whatever, where teachers or even like the kids themselves would post pictures of these bathroom passes that were meant to be embarrassing for the kid to bring, like it would be a gigantic plunger was the pass, or some big sign that said like, I'm one of, whatever, Mrs. Johnson's students, and I'm going to the bathroom, and it's like a gigantic sign. And I maybe get why teachers were doing that, because they were trying to prevent kids from constantly going out of the classroom. But as a teacher, sometimes I'm like fine that the kid is using the quote excuse of going to the bathroom because they need a break. Sometimes kids aren't as emotionally ready to say, hey, teacher, can I have a break for a minute? And even though we kind of build that in and teach them that, and they have the break corner or cozy corner or whatever, sometimes just socially it's easier to be like, can I go to the bathroom?
My son was like that. He had some special needs in high school, and that was actually written in that was an acceptable way for him to like walk around the building. Yeah,
and ask for a break. And sometimes it's discussed with the teacher. So if that's the case, I don't think it should be some big shaming thing that they have to lug down the hallway.
Or if you're like my daughter, who's as big as a stick and has the bladder of a peanut, it's not fair to her. She had to go all the time. And some teachers were cool with it, and some would kind of harass her. And I'd have to write and say, she needs to, and stop bugging her.
Exactly. And I know some students it'll literally be in their IEP. There's medical needs, and there's reasons why they need to use the restroom when they ask for it. And it might be frequent. And to be honest, instead of me having to memorize who those kids are and who isn't, I just let them all go, because I think especially when you teach lower elementary, you learn, hey, I can do a whole power struggle thing with children and whether or not they go to the bathroom. And then help the janitorial staff clean up an accident in a chair or on the floor, or I can understand that that's not a battle you have to have and you just let the child go.
Well, usually too, you can tell the ones where there's something else going. Like I have a kid that will, if they go a lot, I'll contact the parents. They have an issue, and then I'd find out, oh yeah, they need to go whenever. So I'm fine with it.
And if it's frequent, sometimes the parents don't realize that, right? Because they're not with the kid the whole day, and like maybe it's different on the weekends because the kid can just like walk into the bathroom themselves. And yeah, if it's like a frequent use thing, sometimes the parents need to know that because it indicates a medical need that
I
needs
had a
to
kid
be checked
last
out.
year that it wasn't. He had an issue that he always felt the urgency to go, and he couldn't tell the difference when it was actual emergency or not. So I would let him go. Then there's been kids that use it a lot, and I'd find out, no, they don't have a reason. And I tried to teach him, like, hey, if you need a break, that's good. But maybe we can figure out, how to ask for it. You can ask for a break, and we'll find a place to go where you are not in trouble, especially since the bathroom is a stone's throw away from my door.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of funny because I don't know if you guys, if nobody's close to the bathroom, you can't realize what they do in there until you're nearby and become the bathroom police is what I call it. Because we can hear all the little kids, it's echoey. Around. Oh my gosh, they scream and yell in there.
It's so much fun to scream in the bathroom.
Right. The good thing is that everybody in my class suddenly realizes that they can't really get away with it because we can hear everything.
Oh.
Because the kids will go, someone's screaming in the bathroom. We can hear them. And like before that, those were some of the kids I caught the year before screaming in the bathroom.
Oh, so now they learn.
So it's a learning thing. So, I'm always ducking my head out going, hey, take care of business, wash up, go back to class. And, or some kid will poke their head out. It was so-and-so. It wasn't me, so... Yes, things happen in the bathroom, but you do need to determine whether it is a necessary thing or something that needs to be redirected.
Which is why when you're doing your bathroom passes, maybe you only have 2. Yes. Because I know for many schools, they don't like it if too many children from your class are going at the same time. And that should be a clue to you, new teacher. We've all done this. We're like, a kid will ask go to the bathroom. You're like working at a group and you're like, oh, okay, sure. And a couple, minutes later, another kid will ask. And then all of a sudden you realize, I think there's like 4 or 5 kids not in the class right now.
It happens.
And that doesn't happen if you only have 2 passes because you look over at the passes and you're like, oh, well, no, both passes are out. Wait till another child comes
we
out.
had a kid before that would see another kid walk by to go to the bathroom and suddenly they were having a dire emergency.
Oh, they're great at coordinating it with their friends. And that's why middle school is rough because they're all texting each other. They all leave at the same time.
Well, see, usually a lot of third graders aren't as sophisticated, or there's always someone in the class who go, he just wants to go because so-and-so walked down the hall, so.
Oh, yeah, they'll tattle.
Yeah, that's tattling for the good of all.
Yeah, that's helpful tattling. Yeah, so don't make a bunch of bathroom passes, maybe. Or if you make more, just you got to keep track of the children now. So maybe they don't all go at the same time. Asking for the break is something you need to teach the children because I feel like that minimizes the fake I'm going to ask for the bathroom thing is asking for a break. And to be honest, and this was a hard reality for me to accept, if a bunch of kids, especially at different times, are asking to go to the bathroom during your lessons, you might be boring. I'm sorry. I was boring. It was me. And you have to accept, they're bored. No, I was boring and they wanted to leave the class. And so that taught me, oh, hey, check this out. Once you're engaging, they don't want to leave the classroom. So that might be a nice hint to you of how to switch things up. And of course, there are the little friends who try to get out and cause some troubles. And if they are not at the point with emotional maturity of how to ask for breaks, or maybe it's the beginning of the year and the students are still learning what that looks like, we have, what should we call it? The Errand Pass? The special helper pass?
Yes. The funny thing is I've done that before, but it was always an envelope with a note inside that I actually had pre-done for some kids.
Well, let's explain what the purpose of this special errand pass is. It is the forced break pass, meaning this child might need to step away from the classroom for a second, or maybe they're in a little of an embroiled conflict with their table crew, or maybe it's clear that they're faltering in some way and maybe they need
necessary movement.
Oh, that's a wonderful way to say it. instead of forced break.
Purposeful movement.
And so you send them on a little errand. And Stephanie was saying that she used to have you would just write a note in a sealed envelope.
I'm sending this kid because they're driving me crazy. Just give him something. And it's like they'd come back from the office with a stack of paper because you have to prep who you're sending it to a little bit too.
So there's a couple different ways you can use this. You can either talk to your office staff and say, hey, if I send a kid with a sealed envelope and it's to you, it's probably because they need a little break. I'm going to write in it, hey, this kid just needs a break or whatever you want to write. And feel free to give them some sort of supply so that it's not a fool's errand. It's an actual errand. And they can come back. But they get the little break. They get a little human interaction and, they get some fresh air on their way. So you can do that. Or you can have... Weren't you talking before we started hitting record of like basically having like a special colored envelope that signifies to people?
Or also I've even read or talked to some like the OT or something. They needed to like carry something. So you'd have them take like a bunch of books or something like the actual process of carrying something heavy for some kids is going to be sort of calming or
like grounding
censoring.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you could giving the receiver and adult a heads up of why, because otherwise it becomes, why does Miss Hedgpeth-Lopez need more pencils? Like we just gave them to her yesterday or something. Like it becomes like a kind of funny, whatever, miscommunication. So yes, just let them know. The other thing too is you can, send them to the office or send them to wherever to get the supplies, or you can pre-work out with a buddy class, which was the last episode I posted. I don't know what order I'll be posting this one, but anyways, the last one we recorded, basically like a kid going to that other teacher's class with the same idea that you're sending them on a little errand. And I have a funny story to tell. When I very first started teaching way back when, like 18 years ago, and I was teaching 6th grade and my friend Shannon was teaching first. And I cannot remember how this joke got started, but we had an inside joke with something with Ewoks, because I swear what happened was she did that where she sent me her little friend in 1st grade needed a break. And so she sent me a note, and I did not know this trick yet because I was new to teaching. So I think I'm getting a legit note from this teacher about something. And I open it up. Actually, now as I'm saying this story, I know how this started. Obviously, she was a really good artist. She drew an Ewok. And it just struck me as so funny because I'm expecting it to be like, oh, can I have an extra copy of blah, blah, like an actual teacher thing. And it was a picture of Ewok, and I blew it because I laughed, and then the kid, didn't get it. So I had to make up some story. But from then on, we we would send a child either from my class or hers to the other class, and we would add to the Ewok. It was like the Battle of Endor by the end of the thing. And, that taught me sometimes you could have a little fun with a coworker at the same time of giving a kid a break,
right,
and letting them go. But yeah, you can send whatever you want.
Yeah, or you just go, oh my gosh. I've even pretended to get the phone, on the phone and go, oh, I forgot to give this to Miss So-and-so. Will you please take this? And I'll just grab something like a basket or whatever. And the kid will look at me like, oh, okay. And I have either just sent it with them or called them real quick. Look, they're going to act really happy. Keep them there for 5 seconds, whatever.
Right.
Because a lot of times if you ask them to leave, they kind of know they're not doing the right thing, and they think they're in trouble, and then you end up with the power struggle. Sometimes
that's a good point. Is yes, and kids don't like going on a forced break or you need to go to this class or you need to go to the office or whatever, because yes, they've probably internalized that might mean they're in trouble. But man, this is what happens in my 5th grade class. This is how I start my sentence. Can anybody? I don't even need to finish the sentence, and I have 10 hands in the air.
That can be bad. Did I tell you in 4th grade I did that? The teacher asked for volunteers.
Oh no, was it for something terrible?
I had to pick up all the little, someone was we were punching holes with hole punches. I had to pick them all up. And I learned at that time.
You don't volunteer.
You don't always volunteer till you've heard what you're volunteering
Let
for.
the teacher complete the sentence.
Yes.
That's mean. Well, I guess you learned your lesson.
No, but she was also going, I need someone to help. I'll do it.
I see my 5th graders haven't learned that lesson. I just, and then I won't even finish the sentence. And then by then the rest of the class's hands are up. And I'll ask them every now and then, you guys realize you don't know what you're volunteering. It's like Hunger Games. You don't know what you're volunteering for. You were just
They're all taking a test right now.
Yeah.
That's what you volunteered for.
But I guess I shouldn't be laughing. They're very, very helpful. All right. So yes, you can send them on a little errand pass. And then Stephanie, because she teaches the lower grades, have found some very nice tricks. If you don't have an envelope and you are concerned the child might read what you wrote.
Write in cursive. It's if they can't read, it's good.
You can write it in anything.
But you write it in cursive and they have a hard time figuring it out.
Right, because the state of California just said this year, the 2024-2025, that we all have to do cursive. So we have this last year to pass our notes in cursive before they've all figured out.
And they'll know.
And they'll all know. All right. So when you're making your bathroom pass, make sure it's not something that you are okay with it being on the floor or lost.
Which again, have it set up, a template set up. So when it gets to that point, the laminating is curling. There's that weird drip of water in it.
Yeah, that got in it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you just redo it.
Have hall passes for either all the things or laminated so you can write in the things, or check boxes would be the most efficient ways. It has check boxes of where they're going and then you check it. And then have some envelopes ready for the special errand pass or a random stack of books that might. It's like the sisterhood of the traveling pants, but it's the child and the stack of books that just goes from like classroom to classroom as they need an errand. Like, here are these history books from 1997. And I need to go from the 5th grade class to the 3rd class. All right. Thank you so much for your kind attention today. Until next time, teachers. Bye for now.
Goodbye.